your own story about having been pregnant and giving birth, and you talk about rural hospitals in regard to how that looks when a very premature baby is born. What do you think the impact would be of people who are mothers, who have been mothers, being in Congress?
Several things. Women pass more legislation. We craft more legislation that is beneficial to women, and we bring more money back to our home districts. And further, if you look at intentions and motivations behind running, for women, it is because we want to affect positive change. Men typically say the reason they're running is because they've always wanted to be a politician. So we come at things completely differently. And in my opinion, being able to look at something because you really want to affect positive change rather than saying, well, this has been a dream of mine to always be a politician. This is kind of the glory I've always wanted to receive. That you're going to legislate very differently with those two mindsets.
Yeah, I agree. I'm all for mothers in Congress.
Well, I have 4 kids now, and I think about their futures. And I told you my oldest one is 27. She's recently married. I mean, I could be a grandmother soon. She's told me I will not be a grandmother soon because she wants to finish her degree. But this is not the future that I'm looking at under the Trump administration and the current Congress is not the future I want for my children or my potential grandchildren. I mean, heck, I don't want this country for my cats and dogs that I have, you know?
All right, is there anything else that you want to make sure that our listeners know about you, and how can they find out more about your campaign?
Yeah. Well, yes, absolutely. My website is oliver2018.com. I'm on Facebook. You can find me on Facebook, Julie4FOR Texas, and Instagram. On Instagram, I usually post a lot of threads about healthcare. So if you're interested in that, my Instagram handle is Julie4TX25. So it's JULIEFORTX25. I would like to say that my district is absolutely a flippable district. It's not one that gets a lot of attention, but I believe that the current incumbent is very vulnerable. And because he has not been doing much, if anything, for his constituents, we're taking notice. A couple of very, very encouraging things that I'm seeing at least from the Democratic side, and then what I'm also hearing from what I call Republican orphans. One, on the Democratic side, some of these Democratic clubs that I visited, in the fall of 2017, and you might have had 12 people there. Going into the election now, I'm visiting these same clubs. It is standing room only. We typically have about 100 plus people at these events in small town Texas. That is incredible. Another piece of encouraging news is one of the small counties that has 2 large towns, but a small county with 2 large towns. 2 years ago, when they were sending out mail-in ballots, for every 1 Democratic ballot that went out, 5 Republican ballots went out. So not very good odds. This year, for every 1 Democratic ballot going out, 1 Republican ballot is going out. And then finally, I am very encouraged of what I call, again, these Republican orphans who feel very let down by their party. And they are reaching out to me in droves. And I'm not changing my platform. I'm not changing my message. They just feel sickened by what is going on. So it's not just the Democrats who are sickened by what's going on. There are plenty of Republicans who are willing to vote Democratic in the general election, and we will change the face of Texas in November. Absolutely.
That's great. I'm excited by that. And you guys have a primary coming up very quickly.
We do. March 6th. And early voting begins February 20th. So that early voting starts in less than 2 weeks, February 20th to March 2nd. And then our primary is March 6th.
Well, thank you so, so much for coming on. It's been really great to talk to you.
Thank you, Kelly. You as well. Thank you.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Kelly, and I am here again with Sophy. Hi, Sophy.
Hey, Kelly.
And in this segment, we're very excited to have with us Adrienne Bell, who is running for Congress from the Texas 14th District. Hello, Adrienne.
Hi there. Excited to be here.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us. We're excited to have you. When we asked our listeners on Twitter who people wanted to hear from in Texas, several people said they wanted to hear from you. So we're very excited to get you on the episode. To start, could you just tell us a little bit about who you are, what your background is, and why you're running for Congress?
I am Adrienne Bell, and I'm an educator. I currently teach second grade in the largest school district in Texas. And I am running for Congress because I believe in this current national political climate, the voices of the 99%, those who are not rich, their voices have been silenced. And so I am running to bring voice to Congress for the people. I believe that we are getting further and further away from an America that has dreams. And so I believe in the hope of America, and I really want to have an America that provides universal health care, invests in the education of our citizens, and provide equal protection under the law. So I'm really excited to be running. It is a great time to be running as a woman in America, and I'm excited to be a part of the blue wave that's going to hit Texas.
We're definitely hoping for a blue wave in Texas. It struck me that you said you're teaching second graders, and I have a kindergartner myself, and I think sometimes the wrestling Congress and wrestling elementary school students might not be all that different.
I agree. I had a supporter that told me exactly the same thing, and he told me what he really liked about me is that I didn't have the experience, and what we needed and what he wanted to see in D.C. were candidates and representatives that came in new and fresh and had new ideas and were not going to do same things the same way and not getting any result. And be really excited that I'm a teacher. And I've gotten a lot of positive response from people who find out that I am a teacher, because teachers, we have a lot of different skills that can translate into enacting laws and standing up for the people in our districts that really need personal representation, and not what we currently have.
That's exciting. And I saw on your website that both of your parents had to leave school early. Can you talk a little bit about how important education is to you in that context of your parents not being able to finish high school?
My parents were farmers, and they came from a family of farmers. And of course, when you are a farmer, one of the greatest assets are children. And they worked on the farm during those times. So my mom had a 10th grade education, and my dad had a 6th grade education. And education has always been important to me, because when I was growing up, we had the American dream, and we really believed that if you worked hard, you got a good education, that you could make it. And so I was always focused, because I always wanted to be successful, and I always strived to be the best that I could be. And I felt like education would help me to achieve that. I've been a lifelong learner, and I am currently working on my doctorate in higher education administration at Texas Southern University, because I believe education just does not stop. And one of my main advocacy items is education, investing in the youth, investing in our future, making sure that we have early childhood education for our students so that we can improve literacy rates in our country. As a second grade teacher, you really recognize how students are struggling when it comes to reading and comprehension. And by the time they get to third grade in Texas, they begin taking the STAR test. And in order to be successful as a student, statistically, it is proven that a student needs to be reading on grade level by the third grade, or they will struggle their entire educational life. So it's really important that we get our youth reading at earlier ages, that they have reading strategies that they start to employ, and that we really measure student success as based on literacy level.
That's great. And can you tell us a little bit about the Texas 14th, what the district looks like? So I understand it's down near Houston and kind of stretches along the water.
And that's a pretty good description. It consists of Jefferson County, Southern Missouri County, and Galveston County. It is the only district in the state that consists of 5 port cities. It goes along the Gulf Coast, but it has 5 ports that are located in the area, which brings a significant amount of economic growth and development into America. it's a very important area. A lot of people may not have heard of a city such as Port Arthur, but when we had Hurricane Harvey that caused one of the largest oil refineries in the United States, which is located in Port Arthur, to shut down, then immediately across the United States, you start seeing gas shortages, or you start seeing little problems that start to trickle along. So we have some very important industries in these areas, and it's a very diverse district. It has a lot of interest in small cities that really makes this district unique.
So I can't tell from looking at the map. Can you actually drive the whole district, or do you have to go around? There's sort of a bay that I can't tell if there's a bridge or not that connects the two parts of the district.
You can drive along the coast between the district. I generally don't drive along the coast. I may visit, I like to go to Beaumont and going along I-10 that's not taking you along the coastal area. The district has a lot of the coast area, but it's not just like a coastland drive. We use a lot of like I-10 and I-45 and Highway 288, which are not along the coast.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have to put a map up on our website to show people because it looks like it's these sort of two disconnected areas.
Yes. Yes.
And so you mentioned the hurricane. Are there still effects in the region from the hurricane?
Oh, absolutely. We still have hundreds of people displaced out of Port Arthur. Port Arthur is an area that had a huge amount of seniors living there. And so a lot of them were evacuated via the rooftops of their homes, and they have not returned. And so we have a lot of people, population numbers that have decreased in Port Arthur. In Galveston County, and also in Missouri, or Galveston County, you have a lot of people that are still living in hotels. Also in Jefferson County, that are still living in hotels, or they're living in gutted out homes. They still don't have appliances. We have a lot of work still to be done in these areas in trying to get people back on their feet. So it's a long recovery period.
Is there a lot of concern in your region about immigration policies and the immigration control crackdowns recently on undocumented residents?
There is a lot of concern. We have a lot of, like I say, diversity in our area. A lot of the concern right now that I hear is more related to people being displaced and people not having insurance. There's just a lot of different issues. So they're not all just based on, like, the number one issue right now is immigration. Immigration is a huge issue in Texas because of our location to Mexico and what's going on the national scene with our dreamers. And so my stand for immigration is that we need a clean, clear path for immigration, to be citizens in the United States. We need a clean immigration plan so that we can allow cleaner paths of citizenship, and especially for our dreamers who we made them a promise, and now we are stalling on it, and they are not sure what is going to happen with their future. And so you hear of communities that are pretty much undercover because they don't want to come out and be around and take that risk of being arrested.
I was wondering if you could talk a little bit about your healthcare policy. I know that Randy Weber, who is the incumbent Republican against whom you would be running in the general, he voted in favor of the wildly unpopular American Health Care Act, AHCA, of 2017. And I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about what you would want to do with healthcare.
When it comes to healthcare, I do believe healthcare is a human right, and I would push and pursue Medicare for all. We have a lot of people in Texas that are uninsured. And because Texas did not do the Medicaid expansion, it just makes access to health care really terrible in this state. And so my big push would be Medicare for all, to make sure that everyone has health care insurance. We have a huge problem going on in Texas with maternal mortality, and African-American women are dying at the highest rate of all. And a lot of that is because we have lack of access to health care. With a lot of clinics that no longer, the Planned Parenthood clinics no longer receive funding because of an abortion issue, but it also caused a lack of prenatal care for women. And so that's also a woman's health issue that we could make a part of the Medicare for All to make sure that women are taken care of in giving birth. When you look at it, it's 2018, and why are women still dying from childbirth? There are issues and answers that we just need to have addressed. And so we have a current representatives who don't seem to really be concerned about women dying, are concerned about people, especially seniors who you talk to that have health care issues. I was just talking to a senior, and